Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Gus Sorola.
We're just 3 months away from the release of the next Star Wars film, Rogue One, and after months of rumors, misreports, and reshoots, the internet's freaking out again. This time over some comments made by Disney's CEO.
The internet freaking out?
I know, it's unheard of. It's unheard of, but it's happening.
You'd think CEO Bob Iger said that Greedo shot first for all the ruckus some of this new statements have caused. These new comments come from an interview with Variety, who spoke with Iger about the future of the Star Wars series.
After talking about a recent meeting with Kathleen Kennedy to map out Star Wars movies through 2021 and beyond.
Which is exciting.
Right. Iger started talking about the upcoming Rogue One, the first of Disney's planned anthology movies for the franchise.
And according to Iger, Disney's aims for how much money Rogue One might generate at the box office aren't quite as lofty as you might think. In fact, he went out of his way to stress that it would come below Force Awakens, saying, "We never felt it would do the level that Force Awakens did."
Iger went on to note that based on the response they received to trailers and other marketing, quote, "The level of interest in Rogue One is as high as it was for Force Awakens," which is, I mean...
That's pretty high.
That's pretty
lofty.
high. I mean, we haven't seen people like flying drones over the set or anything like we did for Force Awakens, because that was crazy for a while, like trying to sneak on set, do some spy shit. But still, you know, as high interest.
Yay, I'm interested.
Good.
In only the special way that the internet knows how, it has totally run wild with this quote. Already a number of outlets and commenters are writing that this could spell trouble for Rogue One come December, arguing that Disney's lowered expectations mean that the movie might not be all that good.
Yeah, it's only gonna make like, I don't know, 500 million domestically. Worse. Or, you know, maybe it's just that Disney doesn't expect it to be one of the biggest blockbusters ever released in the history of film. Possibly, but more on that in a moment.
Most of the worry and speculation no doubt has to do with the narrative of Rogue One's production, which so far has seen its fair share of hiccups. The saga surrounding the movie during the summer was probably more interesting than any of the prequels.
Back in May, it was reported that Disney executives were in a panic over Rogue One after a screening of the movie didn't go over very well. It was later clarified in other reports that this screening wasn't a public one, but rather with the brain trust at Disney, who felt that the film's emotion and action needed punching up. The same group makes recommendations for most of Disney's films, by the way, including The Force Awakens.
However, the film did undergo about 5 weeks of reshoots this past summer. There's been a bit of back and forth about whether or not that constitutes more reshoots than the typical effects-laden blockbuster. According to the reports, most of these reshoots had to do with the tone of the movie. We also know that Disney brought in help for director Gareth Edwards, which gave fans more than a little pause. That help came in the form of Tony Gilroy, screenwriter of the Bourne movies, who helped on rewrites, reshoots, and even the editing of Rogue One.
It's like, is it higher than average? I can see where people get a little bit nervous, though not back in May, but now about like we had to go back and reshoot and fix the tone because Suicide Squad. As far as the film's producers, both Edwards and Star Wars boss Kathleen Kennedy have maintained that the reshoots were always planned and the fans shouldn't be too worried about them.
But when you add it all up, it doesn't exactly paint a great picture. After all, last month brought us Suicide Squad, another blockbuster that underwent some similarly huge reshoots after studio executives critiqued it for its tone. If the critical and fan reception of that movie is any indication, reshoots don't always fix things for the better.
Although I will say the movie had a pretty great soundtrack. I liked it. But Bob Iger's comments shouldn't be cause for concern because there's no way that Disney ever expected the Star Wars standalone pictures to rival the story of the Skywalkers. Saying that a movie isn't going to do as well as The Force Awakens is like saying the sky's blue. It's kind of a given.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't mean it's a failure. It's just not going to be bonkers.
Right. That's because The Force Awakens was a ridiculously prolific record breaker. It totaled $2.1 billion at the worldwide box office, something that's only been beaten by 2 movies ever. Titanic and Avatar. If you're keeping score at home. Titanic brought in $2.2 billion and Avatar brought in $2.7 billion. So what we need then is a James Cameron directed Star Wars movie is what I'm figuring out here.
That's gonna take care of all of it.
$3 billion.
Man, do you remember Titanic was in theaters for like 6 months?
It was
there for
forever.
a really long time. And you know what? So is Avatar. So I think the lesson here is get James Cameron Star Wars and then leave it in theaters.
Forever.
Just like it lives there now. In addition to that, Episode 7 made more than $930 million domestically, so that's in the US alone. That's more money than Batman v Superman made around the entire world, and nearly as much as Civil War did worldwide, which was right around $1.1 billion. You know, no big, just $1 billion.
One of the biggest movies ever. That $900 million figure makes The Force Awakens the highest grossing film of all time at the domestic box office, and the competition doesn't even really come close. Avatar in second place with $760 million in the States, but nothing else gets even past the $700 million mark.
Yeah, for shame. So I guess it's safe to say that The Force Awakens is kind of a special situation when it comes to box office releases. Disney's Rogue One projections don't mean that Disney thinks Rogue One is going to be bad. It just means they don't think it's the second or third biggest moneymaker of all time, which is totally normal.
Correct. Absolutely normal. The fact that Disney is projecting Rogue One to land beneath Episode 7 in terms of sales is actually a good thing. It means they've got a realistic grip on the franchise and aren't going to start panicking if the movie doesn't blow the competition out of the water the way Force Awakens did.
So they're being reasonable,
They're probably also trying to temper the expectations of their stockholders, if I had to take a guess.
Which is, stockholders, they're fussy. So fussy about things like making money. And when you break it down, Disney probably doesn't even expect Episode 8 to do as well as Episode 7 did. It might, but it might not, and there are two reasons for that. For one, decades worth of hype leading into Episode 7 was completely unprecedented. You had a beloved franchise with 6 movies under its belt, continuing a story from 30 years earlier with most of the same cast. It's honestly something we may never see again, given Hollywood's love of spinning every franchise out forever with no end in sight.
Secondly, sequels don't tend to hit as well as the originals. When looking at the box office sales of trilogies or multi-part series, it's usually the first and last movies that do the best, to varying degrees of success, of course. On average, middle movies tend to dip a little bit because people are most interested in beginnings and endings. We all love getting those happy endings.
They're just like, who's the guy who went and saw the first movie and the last movie, and he goes into the last movie going, what is even going on?
Yeah, what happened?
Well. So slow your roll, internet. This doesn't necessarily mean bad things are in store for us when we plop our butts down to watch Rogue One. It just means that Disney knows its own property and they're being reasonable for once.
Yeah, that's good. Rogue One probably won't be breaking any records the way Force Awakens did, but it won't be too surprising to see it land in the $800 million range at worldwide box office. Although that might move up as high as $1 billion, considering it releases in mid-December when people are off work and out of school. Plus, it's Star Wars.
It's gonna be fine. So what do you guys think of everyone freaking out about Disney's Rogue One box office predictions? Let us know in the comments.
For future updates on Star Wars universe, like this video and subscribe to The Know.
And then go buy a shirt. I think more people should buy our shirts.
Buy a shirt.
Are shirt projections as high as The Force Awakens sales?
No, our shirt projections are entirely realistic. It's gonna do not quite. It's gonna do a little bit low below Episode 7.
We'll do a little below $900 million.
In shirts.